Tyler Perry was once hailed as Meghan and Harry's guardian angel, the billionaire filmmaker who stepped in when the royal family turned their backs. He didn't just offer sympathy, he gave them a fortress, bodyguards, his private jet, and a place to heal far from the flashing cameras and royal drama. He even became godfather to their daughter Lilibet, an honor that in royal circles borders on sacred. But fast forward to now, and something strange is happening. Meghan's carefully curated online world scrubbed of Tyler Perry. The emotional godfather posts deleted. His name vanished from press mentions, photos, even Lilibet's own digital footprint. No explanation, no statement, nothing but silence. And that silence? It might have just triggered a legal clause with explosive consequences. One that gives Perry permission to speak freely. Not rumors, not gossip, receipts. Photos, voice notes, strategy calls, all from inside the Sussex stronghold. Because this isn't just a falling out. This is the unraveling of a friendship that was once painted as sacred. And if Perry talks, the entire Meghan Markle narrative could collapse, publicly and permanently. And here's the wild part. He might already be preparing to do just that.
When Meghan and Harry detonated the royal protocol and bolted from the UK, it wasn't King Charles or Prince William who came to the rescue. It was Tyler Perry, a man with no crown, no royal bloodline, and no formal ties to the monarchy. And yet he offered more than the entire institution combined. His Beverly Hills mansion, it became their private fortress. His private jet, at their disposal. Security, covered. Paparazzi, blocked at the gates. But it wasn't just logistics. Perry gave them something the royals never could: unconditional loyalty. He didn't question, didn't hesitate. He simply opened his doors and said, "Come in." And they did. The bond grew quickly. Perry didn't just play host, he became part of the family. Meghan called him Uncle Tyler. Harry spoke about him in emotional interviews. And when their daughter Lilibet was born, Perry was asked to be her godfather, a title not handed out lightly, especially by former royals who just lit the monarchy on fire and walked away. Netflix captured it all. Smiling faces, champagne toasts, heartfelt promises. Perry's voice cracked as he described the honor of being chosen. He vowed to be there for the little girl always, to protect her just as he'd protected her parents. To the world, it looked like the ultimate fairy tale pivot, from palace drama to chosen family, complete with a Hollywood godfather. But behind the polished scenes, something else was simmering, and it wouldn't stay quiet for long. Because just months later, the man who had been their rock was about to become their biggest liability.
The fairy tale cracked almost overnight. Tyler Perry, Hollywood's image of generosity and power with heart, suddenly found himself at the center of a brutal civil lawsuit. A $260 million lawsuit to be exact. The accuser, actor Derek Dixon. The allegations, a hostile, retaliatory, and downright toxic workplace environment. Court filings, production notes, texts, emails. The receipts were piling up fast. And just like that, the man who was once praised for building safe spaces and empowering voices was being painted as a tyrant in designer shoes. Media outlets jumped in, headlines swirled, and Tyler's reputation, the one that made him the perfect protector for Harry and Meghan, was under siege. But while the public reeled from the shocking allegations, Meghan's response wasn't shock, it was silence. And then deletion. Within hours of the story breaking, Perry's presence began vanishing from Meghan's world like it had never existed. Photos wiped, posts edited, mentions erased. Even the emotional godfather tribute for Lilibet scrubbed to the trained eye. It wasn't just distancing, it was digital erasure executed with precision, a full-scale memory wipe. And as the internet caught on, screenshots began circulating, Reddit threads lit up, Twitter timelines turned into digital crime scenes. People were asking, "Where's Uncle Tyler?" Because when someone erases their child's godfather overnight, especially the one who gave them shelter when the royal gate slammed shut, it doesn't go unnoticed. And as Perry watched this play out in real time, one thing became clear. This wasn't just bad optics, it was personal. And it might have been a mistake Meghan couldn't afford to make.
What followed wasn't damage control. It was a vanishing act. One by one, every public trace of Tyler Perry began disappearing from Meghan Markle's online universe. His smiling face in behind-the-scenes photos? Gone. The heartfelt christening post where she'd called him family? Deleted. Even mentions in interviews and press quotes, quietly edited or removed. It wasn't subtle and it wasn't gradual. It was swift, surgical, and strangely silent. No public statement, no explanation, not even a vague, "we remain close friends" message that most public figures toss out when a relationship ends awkwardly. And it didn't stop there. Even Princess Lilibet's Wikipedia page, yes, the digital record of royal lineage, changed. Tyler Perry went from "is the godfather" to "was." Just like that, the man who once held their secrets, comforted them in exile, and promised to protect their child, had been reduced to a past tense footnote. But if Meghan's team thought the internet wouldn't notice, they were wrong. Screenshots flew across social media like wildfire. "Where's Tyler?" began trending. Even fan accounts, typically curated with royal devotion, started questioning the narrative. Because this wasn't just a quiet unfollow. This was a coordinated erasure of someone who'd once been a cornerstone of their escape story. And for Perry, a man who built his career on trust, loyalty, and narrative control, this wasn't just embarrassing. It was infuriating. What Meghan didn't count on? Tyler still had every receipt. Every message, every draft, every whispered conversation they thought would stay in the walls of that Beverly Hills mansion. And somewhere, deep in the fine print of that goodwill agreement they'd all signed, was a clause that would change everything.
Buried deep in the paperwork, the kind of agreement most celebrities skim and sign without blinking, was a clause, a line of legal language that now reads like prophecy. See, when Harry and Meghan moved into Tyler Perry's mansion, they weren't just guests. They were entering a legally structured safe zone. Everyone involved, from bodyguards to stylists to the Sussexes themselves, reportedly signed a confidentiality agreement. The usual stuff. Don't leak, don't speak, don't expose private matters. But Perry's legal team had added something extra, something very specific. A clause that said if either party publicly disowns or distances themselves from the other, the non-breaching side has the right to speak freely. Not gossip, not anonymous sources, but legally protected, reputation-defending truth. And Meghan, by erasing Perry from her online footprint, wiping his name from press releases, and pretending he was never a godfather, she may have triggered it. Sources say Perry's team noticed immediately. Insiders began buzzing. Legal analysts called it a game changer, because in the world of NDAs, it's rare to see a clause so tailored, so personal, and so perfectly suited to a scenario just like this. And if Perry wants to talk, he can. Not just about the baby photos and birthday cards, but about the real story behind those Montecito walls. The teary late-night calls, the Netflix planning sessions, the media strategy brainstorms, the emotional spirals following press headlines. Every piece of context, every breakdown, every moment the public never saw. Meghan may have tried to erase him quietly, but that clause, it gave him the loudest mic in Hollywood. And now, he might be ready to use it.
Tyler Perry didn't fire back with a cryptic tweet. He didn't go to the tabloids. He did something far more dangerous. He stayed quiet and let his legal team do inventory. Because while Meghan was digitally erasing their bond, Perry was sitting on a mountain of proof. And not the fuzzy, secondhand kind, we're talking direct receipts. Photos, voice notes, drafted emails, handwritten cards, production decks, time-stamped texts, even audio from strategy calls during the Netflix docuseries development. Insiders say Perry's archive is organized, documented, and bulletproof. And here's the kicker. None of it violates the NDA if he's defending his own reputation. Which means, if Meghan's digital ghosting is deemed a public disownment, and let's be honest, it's hard to argue otherwise, Perry can legally open the vault. Imagine him on national television, calmly recounting the nights Meghan sobbed over press coverage, or the calls where Harry vented about royal family tensions. Imagine hearing exactly how their docuseries was pitched, framed, and marketed. Not as a vulnerable exposé, but a calculated power move. This isn't petty revenge. It's insurance. Because while Meghan's brand is built on empowerment and curated perfection, Perry's brand is about loyalty, and being cut off like a liability, it didn't just sting, it burned. Industry sources say Perry hasn't made a move yet, but the feelers are out. Networks have already pitched sit-downs. One executive even joked, "This could out Oprah." And the deeper Perry's team digs through the archives, the clearer it becomes. This isn't just about a fallout, it's about rewriting the narrative. Because if Tyler Perry speaks, the story the world thought it knew about Harry and Meghan may have just been the trailer.
Hollywood loves a comeback story, but it lives for a betrayal. And right now, Tyler Perry's silence is creating more noise than any press release Meghan Markle could dream up. The phones at his office blowing up. Producers, PR firms, talent managers all pitching, circling, and waving blank checks. Major networks are already preparing in case Perry decides to break the silence. One even pre-booked a studio and pitched a primetime special with the working title, "Godfather No More, Tyler Perry Breaks His Silence." Why the frenzy? Because this isn't just celebrity gossip. It's royalty meets betrayal meets legal loophole. A modern-day Shakespearean unraveling with jet planes, Netflix deals, and billion-dollar brands at stake. Meanwhile, Meghan's team is trying to plug the leak with lifestyle content. Wellness tips, garden tea spreads, skincare reels. Her Instagram grid, carefully polished, pastel perfect, like nothing's wrong. But something is wrong, because no matter how many lavender lattes or sun-drenched table settings she posts, the comment sections are asking the same question: where's Tyler? And that silence, it's echoing louder than anything else she posts. Even brand partners are reportedly getting nervous. A luxury fashion house has allegedly paused a major campaign featuring Meghan until the Tyler situation cools.
They don't want their image tangled in whispers of betrayal and erasure. Behind the scenes, PR strategists are panicking. This isn't just a messy narrative, it's toxic optics. And Meghan's ghosting of her own child's godfather, right when his reputation took a hit, is being read less as strategic distancing and more as cold calculation. Because when your brand is built on truth, empowerment, and loyalty, ghosting the one person who gave you a home when your family turned their backs, that sends a very different message.
Loyalty is supposed to be Meghan Markle's brand, her rallying cry in interviews, her shield against criticism. But when the spotlight fades, the pattern tells a different story. Jessica Mulroney, once a close friend, quietly distanced herself amid scandal. Serena Williams, another inner circle member, faded from public praise. Even Oprah, who once championed Meghan's rise, was noticeably absent from recent public mentions. And now Tyler Perry, the man who literally sheltered them during their darkest days, is being memory holed. Friends and insiders whisper about a revolving door of relationships, warm and supportive one moment, cold and severed the next. It's as if loyalty has a shelf life measured by PR value. Even Harry's own friends are unsettled. Military buddies and schoolmates reportedly vent about the ever-shifting alliances. They see a man caught between loyalty to a family and a brand strategy that leaves few standing. Meghan's team may argue it's all about protecting her image, but the public reads between the lines. Ghosting a godfather isn't just a personal snub. It's a calculated move signaling that no one is safe when controversy knocks. And Tyler Perry? He knows every pivot, every emergency meeting, every brand recalibration behind closed doors. He witnessed how fragile the image truly is. And if he chooses to speak, he could transform Meghan's story, from the resilient survivor to the relentless strategist. That shift, it could change everything.
Behind closed doors, Tyler Perry's team isn't just sitting on stories. They're preparing a fortress of evidence, documents, voice notes, emails, all carefully archived, not as weapons of revenge, but as insurance. Because Perry knows something critical. Once the public realizes how deep he was in, the narrative can't be unspooled. Every deleted photo, every scrubbed mention, every silence from Meghan's camp only pushes him closer to the mic. And the pressure is mounting. Meghan's silence, her refusal to address the erasure, only fans the flames of suspicion. Industry insiders say her team has quietly begun legal talks, exploring every angle to block Perry's potential disclosures. But here's the kicker. That confidentiality clause Perry's team found, it's a legal wild card. If Perry frames any public statement as protecting his own reputation, he may be untouchable. This isn't just about personal betrayal. It's a high-stakes game with careers, brands, and legacies on the line. Hollywood watchers aren't just waiting, they're holding their breath. Because if Perry decides to speak out, it won't be whispers or hints. It will be a public rewrite of the Sussex saga, unfiltered and uncut. And the fallout? It could be catastrophic, not only for Meghan's empire, but for Harry's carefully constructed public image as well. In the end, this isn't just a story about a godfather cut loose. It's about what happens when loyalty, power, and legal firepower collide in the most public way imaginable.
Tyler Perry's rise from trusted guardian to potential whistleblower is a story packed with betrayal, power plays, and secrets few saw coming. What started as a fairy tale escape from royal chaos now threatens to become the most explosive chapter in the Sussex saga yet. Meghan's digital disappearance of Perry isn't just about cutting ties. It's a high-stakes gamble to protect a carefully crafted empire. But with that secret legal clause lurking in the background, Perry may soon hold the ultimate trump card: the truth. And if he chooses to share it, the public narrative could shift dramatically. From Meghan the survivor to Meghan the strategist. From Harry the escapee to Harry the man caught in a tightening web. In Hollywood and royal circles alike, everyone is watching, waiting and wondering, who will blink first? And how far will this battle for control go? One thing's certain: when loyalty turns into legal leverage and fairy tales unravel behind closed doors, the real story is only just beginning.